Hey everyone, I want to welcome you to day 10 in building our faith in God in 21 days. And today we're going to talk a little bit about Hebrews 11, which is titled Faith in Action. And when we look at Hebrews 11, we see all of these amazing men and women of God that did great things for the kingdom. We look at people like Abraham and Noah and Joseph and Moses. And we look at their lives and we say, I want to be like that. I want to do great things for God. But when we look at what their lives looked like in their journey, what we see is that faith in action looked like a process. It looked like a process that sometimes looked completely contrary to what God had spoken over their lives. Their circumstances were incredible at times. They had to persevere and wait long periods of time for the Lord and even experience suffering and pain. And I look at that and I think, how did they continue to believe God and trust Him in the midst of this process that God was walking them through? And I think what it comes down to is that there's an invitation to know the ways of God. Not just what He does, but to know His heart intention behind His leadership and why He does what He does. And one of the things I've learned is that when God speaks a promise over our lives, He initiates a process to fulfill that. And we know that God is not like man. He doesn't lead like man. He doesn't love like man. And for instance, when God sees a fruitful branch in our lives, He comes and He prunes it and He cuts on it. And sometimes that's painful, but it's because He wants to bring out the greater things through us. When He sees a promise over our life, He initiates testing so that our character can be tested and it can become what can steward what He wants to do. When He sees destiny over us, He calls us into seasons of wilderness so that we can learn to only lean on Him, so that we're not leaning on resources, we're not leaning on man, we're not leaning on our own talents and abilities, but we're truly only leaning on the person and character of Jesus. And so I think that when we know Him and we know His ways, we can believe Him, whatever the process looks like. And so I just want to encourage you today, don't get hung up in the process. God's ways are good. And I just want to say to you today, be at peace with the path that He's laid before you. Maybe you're in a time where your circumstances look contrary to what He's promised you. Know that He's leading you to a good place and He's building character in you. Maybe you feel like you're in a wilderness. So just lean into the understanding that He's building a dependency in you so that you're only partnering with Him and not in your own abilities. This has been one of the biggest points of contention between me and God in my journey, is just season after season, circumstances looking contrary to what I feel like He's promised over my life. And I've just really come to a point where my prayer is now, God, I want my faith to be like those people in Hebrew 11, where no matter what's going on, I love you, I trust you, I know you're good, I know all your ways are perfect, and so my emotions don't succumb to the circumstance. And I think God is really longing for His sons and daughters to be like this. He's wanting us to have faith that is so rooted and is so grounded that we are just surrendered as He leads us into that process of fulfilling what He wants to do in our lives. And so take heart today and have hope today and believe God today, because what He's doing in you is good and He will fulfill the work. So let's do this declaration together. Today, I declare that I will be at peace with the process, and that I will put my faith into action by believing that God's ways are good as He works out the promises that He has for me in my life.